Hello and welcome to Psychodynamic Psychology. My name is Alina. I'm a German psychoanalyst in training, and today I share what I read in December 2024. In this ongoing series of What I Read, I hope to help you find interesting new books to discover and hopefully sometimes at least understand the great minds of psychoanalysis. So whether you're a psychotherapist in training like me, or you're just an absolute psychology nerd looking to discover very niche psychodynamic books, I hope this will be interesting. So what I read in December 2024 was a book by Horney called New Ways in Psychoanalysis. Next was an article by Thomas Ogden called Reading Loewald, Oedipus Reconceived. And then what I finished reading was another book by Horney called Final Lectures. There is a bunch of other books I got started in December that I bought in December as kind of a Christmas gift to myself, but I'll get to that later. What I use to give you this recap of what I read is my psychodynamic library. It's a database I built where I document everything I've ever read with helpful details such as publishing date, number of pages, and most importantly, my notes whenever possible. So if you want to get your hands on this resource and find some more inspiration for your next read, feel free to sign up to my newsletter and then I will send this list your way. But now let's look a bit more closely at what I read in December 2024. The first book I finished in December 2024 made it straight onto my list of my favorite books of 2024. And this really caught me as a surprise because I wasn't aware this book even existed. And I didn't know that I would enjoy the format that much. And this first book is New Ways in Psychoanalysis by Horney. I read that one on my Kindle. It has 318 pages, was published in 1939. And this means it's actually part of Horney's more early work. The earliest book of hers that was published was Feminine Psychology, which was her essay collection from 1922 to 37. Then in 1937, she published The Neurotic Personality of Our Time. And then the next book she wrote was exactly this one, New Ways in Psychoanalysis. I gave this book a solid 8 out of 10. And that was one, because I loved the content of this book. I loved the format. And second, because I'm so grateful that Horney did a lot of the work that otherwise me or other people would have to do, especially when it comes to comparing her work, her theories with the theories of Sigmund Freud. Because mind you, this is still the year 1939. It's the year that Freud passed away in London, and well, he was still very dominant. And I think it was a bit tricky to publish this book, which is somewhat of a critique of his theories in the year that he passed. So I'm sure this stirred the pot quite a bit back in the day. But we're still in an era where everyone had to compare their theories to Sigmund Freud because there was not that much out there. He was still, some would say that he is still to this day, but definitely back in 1939, he was still the dominant voice in psychoanalysis. So what Horney did to really explain her own theories and show how she differs from Freud, I think is quite genius. I really enjoyed this format, as I said before. And what she did is she took every single one of Freud's major concepts, ranging from narcissism, libido theory, superego, Oedipus complex, drives, the death drive. She took everything and first summarized what she understood Freud meant by that. So that's a very nice way of refreshing our own understanding of the theory. And then she gave her own take. How would she understand what is actually happening? How would she use or not use or modify those concepts to fit with her own understanding of what neurosis is and how people can become better? Because I read this on my Kindle, you can get my notes if you sign up for my newsletter and get the link to my psychodynamic library. And then you can feel free to look around and see if those notes also make you want to read more. And then I can really recommend getting this book. I think especially if you're interested in Horney and her work, this is a fantastic introduction. I'm actually right now working on my first paid workshop about Karen Horney and her theories. I want to put together everything I learned about her and really make it available to everyone in a very digestible way. So if this is interesting and you would like to learn more from me, with me, especially about Karen Horney, make sure you sign up to the newsletter so that you will get notified once it's ready and launched. The next little article I finished reading in December 2024 is Reading Loewald, Oedipus Reconceived by Thomas Ogden. It was published, I think, in 2005 and has only 10 pages. And it is Ogden's reflection on Loewald's paper, The Waning of the Oedipus Complex, which I have read and talked about in the last What I read in November 2024. So if you're looking to learn more about this, feel free to check out the previous video. I thought this was a very interesting article. I'm still in the process of putting together my notes from Ogden's kind of reflection on Loewald's paper and Loewald's paper himself, because I mean the Oedipus complex is something that is always a hot topic of debate, either because people don't know what it really is or how we can still apply it today, whether it has lost its significance or whether it's still relevant. So I'm hoping to make a separate video about this, kind of putting together those two papers and sharing with you what I learned from them when it comes to the Oedipus complex. The next little book I finished reading in December 2024 is Final Lectures by Karen Horney. I didn't know this little booklet existed, so I was very surprised when I came across it. Those are, I mean, as you can tell, the final lectures of Karen Horney. Karen Horney prepared a full curriculum, an entire academic year of lectures at the institute that she was teaching at, but unfortunately, she passed away after giving the first 5 lectures, and we got lucky in the way that students recorded the contents of this lecture. There are still audio tapes. I don't know exactly where to get it. In case you know where I could get access to the audio of those last lectures, that would be absolutely wonderful. In one of the footnotes, you can actually see the entire curriculum that she planned out. And it is such a shame that she couldn't finish this series of her lectures, because I will include the full list of lectures she planned in the Psychodynamic library. But I would just like to share a few of them with you because they're just very, very interesting. For example, dealing with blockages, dealing with conflicts, dealing with central inner conflicts, critical situations, giving advice, evaluating the patient's progress, termination, the patient's reaction to interpretations, validity, intellectual process or emotional experience, interpretation, meaning and aims, consistency of interpretations. Like, she takes all of the most important parts of analytic psychotherapy and she really goes through them step by step. And just from reading her final lectures, like the first 5 that she put together, she does so in, as you know it, if you have read anything she's written previously, she does so in a very light, entertaining, understandable, easily digestible manner. It's such a shame that we will never get access to the other 15 lectures of the 20 that she prepared. But yes, so if you're interested in getting a little insight into what it would have been like to be Karen Horney's student, this might be a book worth reading. In December 2024, I got started with a few other books and ordered a bunch more. One of the books I started reading in December 2024 is one that I got maybe last summer. It's called Essential Papers on Narcissism, put together by Andrew Morrison. It's quite a big book. I think, let me look up how many pages does this one have. Yeah, it has 491 pages, was put together by Morrison in 1986. And this really covers, I mean, as the title would suggest, the essential papers, the essential reads regarding narcissism in psychoanalytic psychology, psychoanalysis, psychodynamic psychology, whatever name you would like to choose. So I started with the first 3 papers, the first paper by Sigmund Freud on narcissism, then a paper by Annie Reich, and a third paper by Heinz Kohut. Those 3 papers are kind of the fundamentals of understanding how the study and the conceptualization of narcissism came about. And after I read Heinz Kohut's paper, which is the third, it's called Forms and Transformations of Narcissism, I was so surprised because I had tried to read Heinz Kohut before and I failed. I got his book, The Restoration of the Self, in probably 2022, 2.5 years ago, probably. And I had to give up after maybe 50 pages because it just didn't resonate with me. I didn't get it. So I put it away, hoping that one day I would be further along in my development and my understanding of psychodynamics and then maybe pick it up again. And after I read Heinz Kohut's paper in this collection, I thought, wow, like I understand it now. It makes sense. And I really enjoyed it. And so I was like, okay, I put this collection on pause because luckily, it's individual articles. And I was like, okay, let me try to read The Restoration of the Self again. And that's what I got started on in December 2024. I think I have another 50 pages left. It's also like a 350, 360 page book, so not a fast and easy read. But so far, I'm really happy I made it back to The Restoration of the Self. I remember back in the day when I started reading The Restoration of the Self, and I was completely discouraged. So I looked on Wikipedia to understand more of what his theory was about. And on Wikipedia, I think somewhere it said that The Restoration of the Self is actually the most easy book that Heinz Kohut has ever written. And the previous one, Analysis of the Self, I think, I'm not entirely sure what it was called, that this is actually the challenging one. So yeah, maybe this is just a little beacon of hope for anyone who gave up a psychodynamic book before. At some point, give it a few months, maybe in my case and Heinz Kohut a few years, and then you can return to it and hopefully understand and discover more. So this is what I will be recapping in the next month, but I added a few more books to my wish list as always. There's, I think, 2 more books arriving in the next couple of days. I really wanted to dive more into Thomas Ogden's work because I read some papers of his, really enjoyed it. And the book I got of his that was recommended to me by my supervisor was this one, The Primitive Edge of Experience by Thomas Ogden. I am very much looking forward to reading this one. And yeah, I will keep you updated if I make it through. Next, Santa asked me how much Christopher Bollas I wanted, and I said yes. I got 3 books by Christopher Bollas. The first one, this one, Being a Character. I'm very much looking forward to this one. Someone recommended to me a chapter of this book called The Fascist State of Mind. The next one by Christopher Bollas I got is Forces of Destiny. And last but not least, one more, because 3 times is the charm, Mystery of Things, also by Christopher Bollas. I can't even tell you right now what those books were about. I just thought that they were more affordable than usual from a place where I get my used books, so I just stacked up on them. And yes, I think 2024 will be a lot of more Kohut, more papers on narcissism, some Thomas Ogden, and then a lot of Christopher Bollas. I hope any of this was interesting. If you have questions regarding books, recommendations, feel free to leave a comment below. Thank you so much for your attention. I hope you have a wonderful start into 2025, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye bye.